Welcome to the Embrace It series, where women with all types of disabilities can be real, resourceful, and stylish. With each episode, you'll walk or roll away with everyday tips, life hacks, and success stories from community leaders and influencers. So take off your leg braces and stay a while with Lainey and Estella.
Hi, I'm Lainey, and I have CMT.
And I'm Estella, and I also have CMT, a neuromuscular disorder affecting approximately 2.6 million people worldwide. That's as many as MS.
We believe that disabilities should never get in the way of looking or feeling good. Both Estella and I wear leg braces, and we've learned through our own personal journeys to embrace it.
For more information and exclusive resources, check out our websites at trend-able.com and hnf-cure.org.
And don't forget to hit the subscribe button for future episodes and special promos.
We cannot wait to connect with you all and embrace it together.
Can't wait. See you guys soon.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Embrace It podcast. We're so happy that you guys are listening or watching and really appreciate you being here. And I'm Lainey. And
I'm Estella. Nice to see everybody again. And today we have a special guest. Lainey, you want to introduce her?
Yes, I'm so excited to introduce you to Julie Stone. Julie is a listener and a follower of Treadmill and soon to be H&F. And Julie has Charcot-Marie tooth disorder. We met actually in person when she was visiting down here in Detroit, and we had a lovely vegetarian lunch, right, Julie?
Mm-hmm. So yummy.
It was yummy. Wish you guys could have been there, but
yeah.
So anyways, the reason that we are having Julie on here today, not just because she's cool and awesome, wait till you meet her, but also because Julie has been doing this really cool experiment related to exercise and disability. Julie, why don't you introduce yourself? Tell us a little bit about you and then what your project was that you did.
Yeah. Hi guys. I'm so excited to be on this podcast. Thanks for having me. I did a 10-week exercise. I did one new exercise a week just because I've been terrified of doing group classes from having CMT. I was always worried that people would judge me for not being able to run or jump. So I was just I'm going to go in, I'm going to talk about it because I honestly didn't start talking about my disability until a few months ago.
Wow.
And so, yeah, it's been kind of a crazy ride. I just started talking about it and all of a sudden just started doing all of these things related to fitness that have just been really great. And I've just spread a lot of awareness going to these different gyms and talking to the instructor and then people who are in the class talk to me after. And yeah, my biggest fear was just having not being able to run, not being able to jump. And that's a huge class filler for getting your heart rate up and the start and end of classes. So I was just really open with the instructor in the place, just being I can't run, I can't jump, but I can do push-ups, I can hold plank forever. So if we could just substitute, that would be amazing. And yeah, I just now I have a lot of favorite sports. So I don't know how that's going to fill my time, but
we wanted to have you on here because I know that being fit,
it's so important.
It is so important. And just be honest, for me, being lighter is easier to move around, and being stronger and fitter makes it easier, but also just for pure vanity reasons. I, have always cared about fitting into my jeans and.
Oh, totally. I'm the same way. I'm I need to be able to wear crop tops all the time. And
crop tops might be going a little far here. Anyways, that's just the little background on it. But Estella, did you always exercise too? Were you always an exerciser, or was that something that you?
I always understood that it was an important part of, having CMT and keeping it at bay. And then I was lucky enough to grow up in a very super, probably abnormally active family. So we were always moving around, a lot of dancing going on the weekend. So I wasn't so much structured exercise, but it was just activity, just high level activity, swimming and things like that. So I think it's super important. And I love hearing that you were kind of just brave enough to experiment with yourself, because I feel like a lot of us are just afraid to step out of our our comfort zones and even kind of stand out in those kind of class situations, in whether it's a gym or, you know, like a yoga class or things like that. So that's something that, you know, in the past probably decade, I've stepped out of my comfort zone as well doing that. So I love hearing about other people's experiences doing that as well. So like, what were some of the classes that you kind of experimented with, and what did you find worked for you, and what did you learn from it?
I did quite a range. So I did like Zumba and Pilates and yoga, I think are really common. So I tried all those, and I really love Pilates. I feel like that. I did mat Pilates. I didn't do like with the machines, which I hear Lainey does the machine Pilates, which is awesome. And I would love to try that one day. But I think Pilates is probably like the best class for CMT, because you're just like on a mat the whole time, and like you're just working on your core, which your doctors are always like, core, get your core, make sure your core's strong.
Which you can tell us, like, what does that even mean for people who may not even know? Like, you hear that all the time, like you said.
Your core strong?
Yeah.
It's like really, because we walk so much with like our abs and like with our, even like our the top of our legs and like our glutes. So just keeping like doing crunches and like doing like just stuff, like really it's like just stuff on the floor, like just doing crunches and like leg lifts on the floor makes a huge difference, even if you can fit that in your day.
Right. Well, I mean, you know, like talking about, all three of us have Charcot-Marie-Tooth disorder, even for people who don't, you know, with the core, it like makes up for breathing problems as well. Yeah. Like when you have a strong stomach, it makes it so that your trunk can support your legs, which then makes it so that you can walk upstairs easier, which makes it so that you can, if you get sick, you can cough out anything that gets trapped in there. So exercise, you know, we're not doctors, so we should have said that. We have a big note. It says, do not sue us ever. Please don't ever sue us. We have no money. But we are not doctors. We are just people who are patients and people who like taking care of ourselves and give advice purely on our own experience. And
yeah,
so
just like living our everyday life and sharing it.
Yeah, but like I've actually heard of people with Charcot-Marie-Tooth who's been told not to exercise.
I was going to say that it's
insane.
Like the biggest, most insane thing to me. I meet people like whenever I go to like meetings, like, you know, if I go to like a conference, I always meet people and they're like, you exercise. Like, my doctor tells me not to exercise. And I'm like, oh my gosh, no, exercise. It makes like, I mean, I've built muscle in my legs, which my doctors have said is impossible, but I've done it. So it's like, you know, it's possible. You have to work hard to get it. But.
And Julie, you know, we're going to go into each of the exercises you tried, but you know, you mentioned Pilates, which I'm a huge fan of. And I will agree with you that it's the best exercise for people with neuromuscular disorders. In fact, actually Joseph Pilates, who created Pilates, it was originally invented for war veterans who had injuries, a lot of neuropathy.
Oh, that's so interesting.
Yeah, it really is a therapeutic exercise when it's done right, and it is so great in every way for your core, for your strength, for every part of your body. And I'll just say, I've been doing Pilates for 20 something years. My daughter Zoe is only 18, and she also has Charcot-Marie-Tooth disorder. She couldn't touch her toes. She had no flexibility. She had her hips would be bothering her. Her legs would feel tight. She would not be able to be in a seated position and touch her toes. So I'm sure many people who are listening can't do that either. 1 year of doing Pilates, and she did it 3 times a week for 1 year. She can not only touch her toes, she can touch the floor from a standing position. Her whole muscle, every part of her, she's built muscles where she didn't even know she could. And it's made her feel stronger and look stronger. So
I feel like that's so important too, because you said she did it for a year, and a lot of people like think they can do it for a week and like see all these results. Like, you really have to work for it. Like, it can't just be like a little sprinkled in like for a week or 2 at a time, you know, for like a couple times a year. Like, you have to do it. And it's so important though, and like you will see a difference, and it's amazing when you do.
Yeah, I came across ironically a great quote today. Not to, quote me exactly, but it was that exercise is a celebration of the movements that you can do and not punishment for what you ate the night before.
Mm-hmm.
So I really love that idea that through exercise, we're not kind of focusing on the things that we can't do, but it's more about like a celebration of what your body can do, what it can still do, what your goals are for, the activities that you want to accomplish, whether it's traveling or just being able to like go out with your kids. So I just love that kind of mindset of exercise. And this is basically why we want to, bring this message to as many people as we can with our summit, which you're coming to in November. Oh my God, it's like a month away.
Like almost.
Yeah.
Yeah.
People can still come, right? Like, I mean, this is.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. I mean.
And it's all about exercise, the whole event.
Yeah.
I'm so stoked.
Yeah. We're up to we're at about 100 people and we have room for more. So it's going to be jam packed with a lot of fun and education and connections. So
I want to meet everyone. So everyone come. Yeah. Anyone who can come.
Yeah. Well, and you know what, like, going back to, I mean, the summit is awesome and it's going to be great. But even if you can't come to the summit, we're going back to, bringing us back to Pilates, for example, like truthfully, I want to talk about like going to classes versus not. Now, I'm someone who needs classes. If I don't go to a class, I just don't have the motivation to do things at home. But if you're truly someone who doesn't want to do a class, and we're going to talk about some strategies for going to classes, these days, all you have to do is pull up a YouTube video, like you mentioned in your blog, right? Or on demand, free on your TVs. There's free exercise, mat Pilates classes.
There are like 1,000 mat Pilates classes on YouTube. Like, it's insane. I mean, like, you could do a different one every day for like years.
You can. You're absolutely right. So Pilates was one exercise that you did. Let's name all the ones that you tried, and then we can go into detail. Which other ones did you do?
Okay, there's like, I don't even remember if I can remember. So, okay, there was boxing, which I box, and I love boxing. It's my favorite. If you have a lot of anger, box. If you wear elbows, and you can balance, do it. It's like the best. It's my favorite sport.
So how do you balance boxing? Because balance, how do you do that?
Sure. Yeah. I did AFOs, and I work on my balance a lot. Like, so my balance is, I mean, it's iffy, but in the AFOs, it's okay. If I don't have them on, you could push me over like so easily.
Okay.
I stand on balance balls a lot, like the Bosu ball all the time. So that helps a lot. But I know some people.
You can stand on the Bosu ball without holding on to anything?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
It's so fun.
Everyone, like, there are different levels of ability, right? Like, so Julie
I started training with a personal trainer about a little over a year ago, maybe a year and a half, and I could not stand on a balance ball, like, at all. Like, I worked really hard for it, and it took probably 6 months to even do it for 30 seconds. But yeah, I mean, it still takes a lot of concentration.
But I think that in terms of Pilates, whether going to a class, the best part about Pilates, the reason that I think it's so great is because you are mostly holding on to something at all times. And that is an easy way to modify Pilates. If in fact someone does an exercise that isn't holding on, which is rare because everything is either laying on your back, laying on your side, or holding on to a bar, or a chair, because there's Pilates chairs as well. Your body is always touching something. So if you do have balance issues, it's a great exercise. And I know it can be expensive, but there are some franchises that are very affordable if you choose to go to a class. And in the blog, I think I mentioned some special straps that I bring to classes. If you have trouble holding your feet into straps, there are different straps you can get and bring with you that makes Pilates a great thing. Yeah.
And we should say there are like 2 kinds of Pilates. I think there's like, the laying on the floor in your gym, in your like community gym on a mat. And then there's also like the amazing like table mat Pilates, which is like, yeah. So there's
what you do, the mat Pilates is actually harder than doing the table Pilates, mat Pilates. But all Pilates is good.
They're all great. They're all
It
so
is
good.
that you are, you know, working on your core. Have you tried it, Estella?
I have not, but now I'm definitely considering it. You guys making it sound so.
Oh, yes.
awesome.
Oh, my goodness. What do you do mostly?
I love my Ultra G anti-gravity treadmill. I was actually just on it yesterday. Yeah. So that's my favorite. I've always wanted to run, and you know, a few years ago when I first got on it, I was able to, and I've just been addicted ever since. So for those of you who don't know about it, it's called, there's two types now. There's the Boost treadmill, and then there's the Ultra G anti-gravity treadmill. So it's basically you step onto the treadmill, and it's kind of like a bag that's lowered down. You step into it with a special pair of shorts on. You pull up the bag around you in like a frame, and then you zip your shorts into the bag, and then you start the machine up, and it starts to fill up with air. So there's like a series of really, really strong fans in there, and from that it lifts you up. So it basically takes off up to 80% of your body weight, which is incredible. So it's like,
That's so cool.
being in a pool, but without the resistance of the water, so you're able to move quickly.
Plus, you don't have to get wet.
Yeah, it's always nice. Yeah, it's incredible. It supports you. You don't have to worry about falling. You could adjust it, speed, and you know, anything like you can do on a regular treadmill, but you don't have to.
Do
worry
you own one of these, or do you go somewhere to?
I wish. No, they're pretty pricey, but yeah, a lot of PT offices offer them, and if you go to ultrag.com, you can type in your zip code and it'll locate one in your area. So that's my favorite one. Yeah.
Adaptive sports, because like going to I'm just kind of aware of a couple of adaptive sports. I'm really excited for the conference just to see all the different ways you can do things.
Yeah, it's gonna be, I mean, there's like, you know, like the saying goes, if there's a will, there's a way. And I think that's what we want people. And I think you're a perfect example of that, is that you're not afraid to kind of adapt the different exercises to what you're able to do, and that other people shouldn't be worried about that as well. You know, we want people to feel more comfortable in their skin, and if they need special accommodations, that there's no shame in asking for that from your instructor, and you know, using it as an opportunity to teach others about CMT. And also, a lot of people, I'm sure you've experienced this too, will come up to you after a class and ask you questions and say, wow, you know, you're really inspirational, you know, like I didn't think I could do this class either, but you know, here I see you, and now you know, their frame of mind changes. So I think
so. I just tried a new you know, I just tried 2 new group classes that are national kind of classes.
Yay, what are they? I'm so excited to hear.
Okay, well, so the first thing didn't go so well, and I think my point in mentioning this is that even when you're assertive, when you do what you mentioned in the blog, Julie, where you like ahead of time contact the instructor and tell them what your needs are and your abilities, even doing those things, sometimes
it won't. That it's like, and it's kind of a bummer, but it doesn't.
Right, and Estella's right. Like where there is a will, there's a way, and one shouldn't just be discouraged because you have one bad class or one bad instructor. I tried I used to do spinning classes for a long time. Spinning is bike riding, where you
oh my gosh, I think spinning's so good for CMT. I just cannot do it.
Well, so and H&F has had these spin-a-thons and all these cool things. So anyways, I thought I need to do something more now, because I do Pilates like 5 days a week, but it doesn't help with calories, to be quite honest. So I needed to do something else. So I was like, okay, I'll try spinning. So spinning, it was a total disaster of a day. I did go and talk to the instructor, but like she was on another planet, I think, listening to her iPad or whatever, her earphones, and she wasn't that helpful, and my shoe got stuck on the bike, and then my water dropped, and then my shoe was spinning, but I wasn't even on the bike. The shoe fell off.
Oh my God.
Let's say it's okay. I may return to the spinning if I have another opportunity, but I did try something the other day that I liked a lot, and I found to be very helpful. The people, like their overall corporate environment is very inclusive, and it's Orangetheory Fitness. So you guys have them, I'm sure. They're all over. And it was very, very cool because the exercises were like, it's divided, the class had 30 people, and it was divided into 3 parts, and you're rotating. So one part is a rowing machine, and the rowing machines, and they're all the same at all their locations. One of the challenges with hand problems is getting yourself set up in equipment. What I liked about these rowing machines is that there wasn't, it was very easy it was one thing to pull that tightened both straps. So you didn't have to adjust 2 straps with bad hands. So that was great. And rowing, whether you do it fast, slow, you know, it is definitely an exercise that a lot of people can do.
Yeah.
Even people in wheelchairs, for the most part, just transferring can do that as well. And it's so good for your core and good cardio. So it does that. And then the other part is a mat part, which again, that's just modifying depending on what the exercise is. And then the third part is a treadmill. And the other people in the class were running on a treadmill. I certainly could have used the treadmill and walked, but I knew that is hard for me. I worry treadmills kind of like, I feel like I'm going to fall off. So they have several bikes, spin bikes. So I used the bike instead while others were on the treadmill. The class was great.
That sounds amazing.
Yes. And it's pretty affordable. I liked it very much. So I am now an Orangetheory customer with disability.
This kind of sounds like I wrote about like the LIT method, which is like low impact workout. And it sounds like that, but instead of the treadmill, they had like a TRX machine kind of, but it sounds really similar because it was a lot of rowing and a lot of mat work and like and resistance.
It's probably almost the same thing. So what does that stand for that you said?
It's low impact workout, but it's still high intensity. I know there are a lot of LIT methods that are low intensity workouts, but this one was very high intensity.
So how do people like find them? Do they just like Google low intensity workout, or like what, like if someone wanted to try that, how would they do that?
You could just look up like LIT workout in your area, like LIT. And then it also sounds like Orange Method is really similar. So that sounds like, I've been looking for one that's kind of like nationwide, worldwide, that I could share with people. Cause I really like it,
Julie, because you know, the people there, you know how like when you go into Trader Joe's, they're so friendly and complimentary to you at Trader Joe's. Like I don't know what they do with their staff trainings, but they're like, boost every middle-aged woman's ego and make them feel like they are so hot and gorgeous. That's how they treat you at Orangetheory. It's like Trader Joe's, but like for working out. Like they're super nice. They're super friendly. You don't feel like, I walked in ahead of time and said I wear braces on my legs. There was not a blink, like not a hesitancy. It sounded like they get a lot of people with different varying abilities, and they were very accommodating. I told them when I walked in that I may have difficulty transferring from machine to machine, adjusting the, you know, if someone sits in the bike, I need help to readjust it because my hands can't pull it. And how should I let you know? Because, you know, there's nothing more uncomfortable than standing in a class and not knowing what to do or feeling awkward. And so I said, how should I let you know that I need help? And I thought that was good because she and I both then, she's like, oh, just wave at me. So that's what I did. And then she came over, we had like an arrangement, you know? And then of course I thanked her after class. And I think that that's a great place. Club Pilates is another really good nationwide chain that's very affordable for people too.
Yeah, it's just all those little proactive tips, and they make a big difference, right? Because you're opening the communication between the instructor and yourself, and you're kind of just foreseeing any issues that you might have and just, you know, nipping it in the bud before it even becomes like anything to worry about. So I love
I mean,
that.
I've left classes crying before. Have you?
Oh, I have too. I've totally like had to leave midway because I just can't, like, it's too much. And it was before I would tell anyone what was going on, and people, like my instructor would just be like, why can't you do this? And, you know, I wouldn't stay. So I just like kind of freak out and leave. So it's like talking about it has made a huge difference.
Well, and that same thing for me. Like Stella and I were talking a few minutes ago before we started this, because we're preparing for the conference that we're running. And I was saying that, you know, when I used to hide having a disability, you know, like really the only one I hurt was me, because there's so many more when you're open and you're able to confidently talk about what your issues are and what your needs are. Like that's when people can help you. They're not mind readers. Like, people don't know what's wrong with you. When you walk into some place and you're limping, you know, people have no idea. And they're nervous. They're not going to mention it. Well, some people will.
Right, totally.
But most people aren't going to say anything unless you look like you want to talk about it. So if you're just direct and you walk in and you say, hey, you know, I actually saw, I'm getting off topic, which I know you love when I do this, Stella, but I was just on a trip and there was a woman on the plane, and we were landing, the flight was landing, and she was this young woman. She was like probably in her early 30s, and she was so confident. And I didn't know she had a disability, but she said really very assertively to the man like across the way, hi, would you mind getting my leg braces down from the thing? It would be really helpful because I put them up there to store, like very loud. And I was thinking, gosh, I wear leg braces. I have no desire to tell her that I wear leg braces or to announce it, but like, and mine are obviously on my legs. She was in a wheelchair, so she was just, but what I loved is that she was so it was just so matter of fact. No one even hesitated. No one looked at her funny. No one, because she was embraced it. Like she was just
that makes me feel good. Like I feel like I needed to hear that because I'm not there yet.
Yeah, no, some days I am, because I have this blog and I talk, but other times I'm not. So we have to remember that most people have way more respect for people who are in there trying. If you walk out of class because you can't do something, you're the only one who loses. They don't care, you know, it's you. You've missed the opportunity to exercise. And the worst case scenario that can happen is what happened in my spinning class. It just wasn't for me. That class was not for me. That instructor wasn't for me. And
you should try another spinning class, because they're like, I did a spinning class, and I mean, spinning's just not for me because I don't like it. But
it's
like,
really hard.
It's like, to me, I like actually biking on the road and like seeing things and the scenery, and like just sitting in a room with a bunch of other people with like loud music is kind of not my jam. But like, you should try another one, because I think that might have just been a fluke.
Yes.
I know so many people with a cycle.
I might just try that. So
gotta get back on the bike, Leanie.
Gotta get back on that bike. That's what they say. But you also, Julie, you tried I loved how you tried aerial yoga. Like, what was that?
Oh my God, aerial yoga. So I did 2 classes of that. So there's 2 different versions. They were both completely different. Like, I feel like this is a really new trend that people are kind of trying to figure out. But both of them did a really good job. So I don't know, do you guys go to the chiropractor a lot? Is that something?
No.
I've never been.
Oh my gosh. So I feel like my back is always messed up because of the way I walk, and like, you know, you're using your like upper legs and your thighs and your hips all the time. So it just like screws your back up. So aerial yoga just like really helps align your back. And it also really,
by aerial, you mean in the air for that.
It's like,
how do you get yourself onto the thing?
Oh, it's they have it so you can like just sit in it. It's not, it's like a hammock. It's not like silks. It's like it's more like a hammock, and it's you just, it's like level with, they can adjust the height, and the instructor will do it for you. and you can just like sit right in it. So you're upside down a lot, so that might freak some. It's weird, like it's kind of weird people to be upside down, but it'll really help with your back. And the other cool thing is like you do like squats and lunges, but you can like hold yourself up with the yoga. So if you're doing it consistently, you can slowly build more muscle by like taking more weight off your arms. And so I think that's well.
That's great. That sounds so fun.
I kind of want to try that. That sounds
You
so
should try
fun.
it. It's fun.
And you also tried like self-defense classes?
Oh yeah, I love self-defense. I'm actually having someone come on to my YouTube channel. We're gonna do a self-defense thing in like next week, I think, or the week after.
So note to everyone coming to the summit, do not mess with Julie or
yes.
She will knock you out.
Or she'll
right, boxing,
well with her feet with aerial yoga. She'll fly through the air.
You guys are funny.
So here's a question for you. Lady, talking about this. You mentioned that like, you know, you just started kind of coming out and telling people about your CMT. What's some advice you would give to people who are not there yet? And what advice would you kind of give to your younger self about just being more open about CMT and where you are now with it?
Good question.
That's a good question. I feel like I've been slowly coming out about it. I feel like it's been like phases a little bit. I mean, like, of course, my friends, like my really close friends growing up knew about it. I've had like symptoms since I was 6. I just got it was some unknown muscle thing for like a really long time. I just got diagnosed about a year ago, like a little over a year. So it's pretty new calling it like Charcot-Marie tooth, which by the way was very, it felt like it gave me a lot of power. What is that word I'm looking for?
It sounds strong. It sounds like big.
It was like a big thing. Yeah. And it was really empowering. That was the word I was looking for. It's like knowing exactly what it was. Like taking it slow and like finding people that you like, your close friends, people you trust that you can talk about it with first. Right. I mean, it's weird because I did just like, it was phases. Like I started talking to some of my close friends about it, and we snowboard at my office once a year. So I had to like talk to my boss about that because I was also injured at the time we went. So I had to kind of explain, and that was weird too because I didn't know what it was yet. So just taking it slow. Like you don't need to just like come out and say it to the world, but just
start with people you trust, right?
Start with people you trust and just,
Yeah. I like that. That's good because it's not like some major announcement to like the world. You know, put out a press release, but you just kind of start testing the waters, and you know. And I feel like you gain momentum from it because here you are now on a podcast, and the world knows. And
it's crazy. Like I started talking to my friends about it a little bit ago, and then they're like, you should like share it with people. Like there are probably people out there who would like to hear your story. So I just kind of like I did like a big like Instagram, Facebook, like this is me with my braces and I have them, and you know, F everyone. I don't know if I can swear on here, so I should ask you before.
We do not have a G-rated podcast.
Okay. I think it's just like owning what you have and working with it, and just not forcing, like if you can't do something, you can't do something, and just being okay with that and doing what you can do. And I think that's really important.
Just focusing on what you're able to do and just not internalizing any of the
Yeah.
Love
yeah.
it.
And just, that's really what embrace it means to me.
I love it. Well, and tell us
what I got.
You on social media.
So Instagram, it's CMT Defy. And then I also have a YouTube channel where I do like wheelchair workouts and stretching and just workouts for CMT in general. And that's pretty new. It's like a couple weeks old. And that is also CMT Defy as well. So
that's awesome.
Yeah. Yay.
That's
well, thank you.
Cool. And you're going to be at the summit. So we can all see you, whoever's at the summit, which by the way, if you want information about the summit, how would you get that, Estella?
So you go to movementismedicine.com. You can get the updated agendas on there. You can book one-on-one consultations with our experts. So we'll have that link up in the next few days. Get all the details.
Blog, Julie, Julie wrote, will be on Trendable or is on Trendable. It's www.trend-able.com.
Yep.
And I'm going to have a link in there to Club Pilates, which we talked about, and Orangetheory, but then also those straps that I mentioned for Pilates that for me have been huge. And I take them, like I said, to every single class. If your ankles are fused, it allows you to keep the straps, if you use a machine, in place without them falling on your face, which is not good. So
Let's not do that. All right. Well, thank
Oh,
you.
I forgot I have a website too. It's like brand new, like a couple days ago. It's www.cmtdefy.com. So everything's just CMT Defy. You can find it.
We got it. So that's so cool. Everyone's gonna have to read the blog to see the last couple exercises that you tried, but let's end with, what is your most favorite exercise that you do right now?
Oh, that's so hard, but it doesn't really fit for CMT, but I love boxing. So everything is adaptable. I think, so get out there and do stuff.
And Estella's on her treadmill. I'm doing Pilates, you're boxing. What are you guys gonna do? What's your new exercise?
Yeah.
Let us know, and please follow us and let us know. We can't wait to hear from you guys.
Yep. All right.
See
Well,
you
see you guys.
soon. So good meeting you.
Bye, Julie.
Bye, Julie.